think designers in general, they have a certain circuitry and philosophy that they use,
Right.
and it's worked very well. They like the results, and they stick with that. I'm not here to talk about the tier of Pass. I will say, from a dealer's perspective, they are one of the brands that we go to all the time for many reasons. The value.
Yep.
So I want monoblocks. Well, guess what? They have great monoblocks, A and Class AB, that won't break the bank. They have a killer phono stage. I mean, they have multiple. Mike and I got one in here. It was the XP17, I believe, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it was an amazing phono stage. Big power integrated. Yes, they all put out a lot of heat. So in our qualifying, that's one of the things that we talk to people, especially living here in Florida. You don't need more heat, but we do make sure that whoever the potential buyer is, that it's going to be a good fit for their room. They're not going to put it into a cabinet with a closed door or anything like that. But the folks that Pass, I mean, there's stuff that's been out of warranty that they've worked on. I mean, just first class, So from a dealer standpoint, not everyone can buy Boulder or Griffin or Solution or whatever. Pass is a tremendous product. It's a tremendous people, great product. So, would we like to see maybe an ecosystem where it didn't quite run hot all the time? Sure. It'd be nice, because then you could leave them on, and when you're ready to listen the next day, they're ready to go, and you're not heating up the room. That would be terrific. But I'm certainly not an amplifier designer, so there may or may not be a reason. Yeah. So.
And let me just say that if they actually found a way to create what we talked about, less power consumption, a little more, more innovation, like going back to that same word, I feel like they could easily put themselves on the map again and go up one level. I mean, they really could. If they could just build, and they have the means of building that one amplifier that can blow everyone away. Yeah. They do. They can. Yeah. I know they can if they wanted to. Yeah. And as far as customer service and warranty work and everything you've been saying, the best. I'm 1,000%.
The gold standard. Honestly, the gold standard, in my opinion, is the guys that Pass. From our standpoint. We had a gentleman, he purchased a new amplifier. There was a problem with it. They just send him a new one. And we're like, do you want the old one back? Oh, we'll collect it eventually. They don't argue. Oh, they're not saying send it back, we'll fix it. They overnighted him a new amplifier. I mean, they're the best. I mean, they're so good. I had a gentleman, he had a problem with the remote. They sent him a new remote. They get it. You know what I'm saying? They get the importance of customer service. They really do.
And if Pass Labs is watching this, hopefully they are, I want to say I'm not knocking or dismantling the reputation of the brand. I want you all to do better. I want you all to push harder. I want you all to take it up a notch. He has to do that with his store. Finding ways to draw traction in here and draw sales and try to you market yourself differently, right? You got the internet, you got all sorts of things. You got to come up with different ideas constantly to keep bringing customers in here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
I have to try to find ways, the same thing with my job and doing different things to stay relevant. You have to do the same thing to stay relevant. I feel Pass Labs just needs to try different things to stay relevant. That's the word. Stay relevant at the top, not where they are today. Okay? So do not hate me for saying that. Next brand, no surprise, I almost put it up with the top tier group, but unfortunately I just feel that it's not quite there yet, and that would be Luxman. Luxman to me is, I would say, number one of this middle of the pack group, okay? Could easily insert itself at some point between the top and the middle of the pack if there was a category there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what their new M10, what is it going to be called? M10X?
M10X.
Monoblocks are coming out next year sometime.
Yeah. The word is October in Japan, I think it is.
And then February, March
here,
in
the U.S.
Yeah.
That is absolutely 1,000% one of the best brands I've owned.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
If my budget only allowed for me to stay at this mid-tier, I would probably stick to Luxman, to be honest
absolutely. With you. Great stuff. Fantastic.
I mean, it's just not the construction.
Yeah.
Failure rates, None. You buy a Luxman, you can just leave it on and forget about it. You never have to be worried about it breaking. We know this, right? It's like Boulder, it's even Paslabs. These brands that just are built to last. Japanese, right? Japanese quality control. We know how they are. Sonically speaking, smooth, very, very beautiful, spacious.
Very musical.
Very musical.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting thing about the M900 and pretty much all Luxman amps in general is their ability to handle a 1 ohm load. That's something we really don't talk a lot about. But there are some very demanding speakers out there. If you look at, some of the B&Ws, for example, and some other speakers, they do dip below 2 ohms. And playing them on a Luxman versus playing them on an amplifier that isn't comfortable with a 1 load or can't handle a 1 ohm load, it's very different sound. So you have to look at a lot of the specs, and this is where a dealer can come in handy. Look at the charts, look at the measurements, look at the graphs, and make sure that your speaker, I see it at this frequency, it's dipping to 1.4, at that frequency 1.6, so on and so forth. You need an amplifier that can handle that 1 ohm load. And Luxman, they don't toot their horn enough about that fact. But it is one of the things that it does very, very well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard a Luxman amplifier sound bad, to be honest with you.
No,
I think you have to work really hard to make Luxman sound bad. Knox, why it didn't make the top group, I would say the bass is not all there, in my opinion. And I don't know if that's by default, because they want the amplifier to mimic tubes. And we know tubes typically don't tend to have slamming bass, right? Like solid state.
Right.
I really don't know. I really do not know if that's why Luxman does it. But the bass to me is not there. And I also feel like this is actually one of the best stereo mono amps. It works really well on both.
It does. And it sounds pretty much the same in both.
Very good.
Very similar.
Not many amplifiers do that. And Luxman nails it in stereo or mono.
Yeah.
Amazing. I am extremely excited to see the new M10X when it releases. I'll have it.
It looks the same, but it's been a complete redesign.
Right. And it's supposed to have 4 times the capacitance.
Yeah.
4 times the capacitance of the M900. That means
very dynamic.
Much more control.
Yeah.
Over your woofers, over your bass is just going to be better. Yeah. And I can see why they were doing that. I can definitely see that. So I'm glad to see, and next year, hopefully at this time, I should have some feedback for you all about the Luxman M10.
And they really own the integrated market. I mean, they built so many great integrateds across so many different price points. They have 2 Class A and they've got 4 AB. Integrated amps, so they've got 6 integrateds essentially, and actually they've got more if you include like the 595 and some of the other ones. So they really do dominate the integrated market, and that's a great spot for them. The 509, the 590, 595, they're all terrific. Even the 507 is a great integrated.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. And then I have final mentions on this middle of the pack or middle tier group, if you will. Bel Canto Black series. I know you've never had it. No. I like the Bel Canto Black system. It's pretty good sounding. Class D. You guys can look it up online. It uses digital. You don't need speaker cables to connect the preamplifier to the monos. It comes with these fiber optic cables.
Interesting.
And it comes with a built-in DAC already, so it's plug and play. All you need is to buy the. All you need to buy is you need to buy the speaker cables. Yeah. But it comes with fiber optic interconnects to connect your pre to your amps.
Right.
I thought it was great sounding, beautiful control. It never disappointed. Also, I have Ayre Acoustics. We were just talking about that. Yep. You have it. You don't have it where I have it, right? Ayre Acoustics.
No, I don't. No, you have it in tier 2?
Tier 2.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, that 5 years ago, Ayre, everybody coveted Ayre. They wanted the MXR, the MX monos, and then they were the MXR, I believe it was, or the 20, I forget the model number, but MXR and then the MXR 20. They wanted the KXR, the KXR 20. But it's just a brand that just seems to have fallen off the face of the planet. It's not talked about in magazines or much online, and it's unfortunate because it does sound very good.
I agree.
It's still very, very good stuff. I agree that it is in the right tier where you have it right now. Jay and I were talking about our tier groups. His tier group is based on what he's owned and what he believes, and he's talking more about specific models. My tier group is more about the perception of the brand. So I was giving you a car analogy, and I was saying if you go to a car enthusiast and you say Kia or Ferrari, they're going to be like, well, Ferrari, or Kia or Porsche or Hyundai and Lamborghini. They're going to take Lamborghini and Mercedes or whatever. It's the perception, not necessarily a particular model in that line or in that brand, but how is that brand perceived in the marketplace? And that's the way I look at the different tiers, and I have 4 tiers, So I didn't have Bel Canto on my list, but I would probably put it in. I have 4 tiers. I would honestly probably put it in tier 4.
Now, to be fair, I want to make sure I say this, I want to clarify that. I want to say Bel Canto Black series.
Correct.
Okay, Black.
Correct.
Not the standard Bel Canto at the bottom. This is their reference series that I'm talking about. It's like $50,000 for the system I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay, it's crazy, but that level of gear, I believe that. Now, how do you feel about the new, and you have more experience than I do with this new Classé audio. So I put it here because based on the feedback you've been giving me about the new Classé audio, we know the old it had a lot of good, it had great reviews, the old Classé audio line. It always had the great reviews. I had the Cam 400s, which were the ones without the fans.
Yeah.
And then I had the 600s, which is when they started to incorporate the fans behind.
Mm-hmm.
I had all of those. I loved Classé audio. It was a little warmish, but I think it blended really well with B&W speakers. Any speaker that had a little... The high frequency was not relaxed. It was too bright. I think it was just Classé audio was the perfect match for bright speakers, in my opinion. That's the best way to put it. Now, I know some people may say, well, B&W is not bright. Depends who you ask. I remember, for me, Luxman did not sound great with B&W for me.
Okay.
I found it too bright for me. Now, but it could have been because I had wire wool silver cables as well.
Possibly. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that could be it. Now, tell me a little bit about the new Classé audio.
So the biggest thing about Classé audio is that there's a misconception out there. I talk to customers all the time on the phone, and they're saying, "Oh, it's made in Canada." No. "Oh, it's made in China." Oh, no. Classé has gone through a lot of iterations, but where they are now is exceptionally good for the industry. First of all, it's made in Japan. Second of all, it's owned by the same organization that owns Denon, Marantz, and Bowers and Wilkins. This is great for the industry. As for the new products, the Delta Stereo, we have the Delta Stereo here, the Delta Monos, the Delta Preamp. It's exceptionally good. The Delta Preamp is one of those products that I call the ultimate Swiss Army knife. There's nothing it doesn't do. Yeah. It has built-in EQ. It has a phono stage. It has a network streaming DAC. It has digital inputs. It has HDMI inputs and outputs. So if you don't only want to have a 2-channel system with your TV, you can get it with the HDMI inputs and outputs. It's terrific. The remote is solid, it's great, and it doesn't break the bank. The Classé stereo and the Classé monos sound exceptionally good. Better than the Cam 600s, better than anything they've ever produced in the past. It's got a warmer, sweeter, more organic sound. They still have the fans. People ask, can you hear the fans? Well, if you have no music playing and you're about 2 feet away, you can hear a whisper.
I know.
But if you sit down in your chair, and you're not going to hear the fans. So the fans are great, and it does help keep the amplifier cool. But yes, I think that is a sleeper of a brand right now, is Classé. Great people, great manufacturing, and now they've got a great direction. So very positive about them.
I like the fact that basically who's behind them now, right?
Yes.
Because I know now if I buy Classé audio, they're not going bankrupt tomorrow.
No.
And to me, that makes me feel like I'm buying something that will have support.
Yeah.
That's, there was a little bit of that uncertainty, right? When this happened and it passed and it transferred hands to China and the production was there.
Correct.
We thought that was the end of Classé audio. That was it.
Yeah.
We're going away. Forget about it.
Yeah.
And then it ended up in great hands. Now it's in Japan.
That was in
Amazing
Japan.
quality control. It just got to a
Great.
whole new level.
Absolutely.
I buy anything from Japan with my eyes closed in terms of reliability. I have never bought anything from Japan that has issues that I am constantly sending in for repairs. Not once. So
I think we were one of the first to get the Delta stuff in here, and we've had zero issues, and it runs all day, every day, and it sounds great. I will say the preamp took a little longer to break in than normal. I don't know, I'm going to assume about 500 hours, but it really did sound amazing after it reached its peak. Maybe there's a lot going on in that box. It takes a while to break in.
Right.
But definitely fantastic stuff. Really good.
All right, so now we get to the juicy part, what you guys want to know in regards to what I consider the bottom amplifiers. I don't want to say the worst, but in reality, if I compare to the ones that I've already mentioned, they would be the worst amplifiers I've ever owned. So, I want to make sure I say this again. This is my opinion. Please do not get sensitive on me. Don't be nasty on the comments below. This is a one man's point of view, and I'm here telling it in front of Mike and his friend. So you guys are going to get it from me right now. Let's go.